Hello everyone and welcome to the Animezilia, and today let's discuss whether or not it is possible to see a Rage/Berserk mode from Yuga in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Now, as we all know, the main protagonists from the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows have all had some form of Rage mode. Well, nearly all of them. So first off, let's just go over and classify what a Rage mode is within a Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. These are basically modes in which a protagonist falls into after they experience certain types of tragedy, and basically the anger and darkness within themselves takes over and changes their character dramatically. The vibe and mood of the characters change into a more darker and more serious type of personality and vibe, making the characters less jolly and more sinister. These are great moments within the shows that we've had in the past of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it makes things more dramatic and changes the dialogue of characters to that of Rage, and just adds overall drama and more feel and more tensity to the actual shows themselves. So, based on information that we currently have of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 and from previous shows, I'll be looking at a few possible reasons as to why I think this could be possible to see another darker form of Little Yuga. Now, I'll also be giving you some reasons as to why I don't think they are. Then after this video, I'll give you my overall thoughts, and then I hope you will let me know all your thoughts as well. So, starting off with reason number 1. There has been a small pattern forming from the previous shows. So if we look at who else throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise has gotten a darker form of themselves, so a Rage or a Berserk mode, then we can kind of see a pattern forming. So if you look to the screen here, you've got a chart here that has a Tem. Does he have one? Yes. Season 4, for example. He had the Seal of Orichalcos ordeal. Judai/Jaden. Yes, he does. Supreme King. Yusei. Nope. Yuma. He has Dark Zexal, so we can include him. Yuya. Yuya possibly had one of the best Rage modes ever. Or Berserk forms, we should say. So, yes, he did. And then Yusaku. Nope. Now, for Yusaku, you can argue that I did turn evil, and technically he's our main protagonist. But for this video, we are looking at the box art main protagonist. So, unfortunately, I doesn't come into it. And even if you, reverse that and say, well, a Tem isn't really a box art. Well, technically it is. But if you look at Yugi, Yugi doesn't have a Rage mode either. Okay, yeah. But a Tem does do the majority of the duelings. Just like how Yusaku does the majority of the duelings. So, we can do it like that. We can play it that way, basically. So what does this all mean? You're probably thinking, well, what does this mean anyway? Well, this pattern is forming. As we can see, there have been two protagonists who have had a more darker version of themselves. And then we have a break. So we've got Yugi, Jaden, a break in Yusei. We got Yuma, Yuya, a break in Yusaku. So that leads me to the natural thinking of, okay, looking at this trend, then Yuga from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and whoever the 8th protagonist is, if they decide to do one, will have a Rage or Berserk form. If we're following this pattern and if it works out. So then, reason number 2. Reason number 2 is basically Yuga has invented his own new unique duel style / mode, that being rush duels. Now, who else do we know created their own way of dueling and summoning methods? That's right, Yuya. And we've already established Yuya has had a Berserk mode in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Okay, so you're not convinced by that argument. Let's look at that from a different angle then, shall we? If you created something yourself, so you put yourself in that position, you created a new dueling method or something, and a lot of people started to enjoy using it, and you would then feel, a sense of joy, a sense of pride, and a state of accomplishment. You'd be welling up with lots of good, positive emotions. Now, if you see someone else using that said creation to harm other people, maybe your thoughts might actually change to that of guilt, sadness, and possibly frustration. And you'll definitely want to stop whoever is misusing your creation from doing what they're doing. This would be the exact same if someone was disrespecting your creation. These all lead to negative emotions. That is what I'm getting at in this, this argument. Now, why do I mention this? It's because we know, and you have to remember, that Yuga is only 11 years old. Meaning that he could be a bit immature and very easily influenced, as children under the age of 15 are influenced by what they see and those around them. And it wouldn't, be a stretch to say that Yuga's character has not had a lot of time to develop or mature a mature personality. So, he might get a bit kind of angry too quickly, he might get a bit too frustrated quickly, he might get, a bit spiky. And that's okay because of his age range. But then that anger and those negative emotions that he might show because of his immaturity and his lack of development may in fact unlock a new stage, a hidden darkness lurking within him. Then reason number 3 even, wow, would be the fact that it would be cool, especially for a younger audience. As if we look at who the show is targeted towards, we can basically infer that the show is targeted towards a younger audience base. And this is basically looking at the airing times and the dates of when it's airing during the week. This being early in the morning and on a Saturday. So basically children aren't at school at the weekends and children normally wake up early. As well as the art style being a lot more toned down. It's less harsher to look at and it's more kind of appealing to the younger audience when comparing it to the other Yu-Gi-Oh shows. All of this would lead us to the assumption that the target audience is in fact the younger age group. And they would probably find evil things pretty cool, especially the male category of that young audience. If you see someone suddenly like, if you were to show a kid the clip of Yuya basically going into his rage form, summoning Odd Eye's Raging Dragon, they're gonna be like, whoa, cool! And yet if they see this in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, they're probably gonna have the same reaction. So, just to clarify, we've got a small pattern forming in the form of two darker forms for a protagonist, one break, and then another two, and then a break. We've got Yuga inventing rush dueling. We've then got it being cool for the younger audience to see. So those are just 3 quick points that I have based on why I think it's possible to see it. There are plenty more points to talk about, but to kind of compact them into like the most important ones, I would say, based on the information that we know thus far, I think that kind of wraps that bit up. So now, there are a few arguments against Yuga getting that rage mode. And reason number 1 would be legend cards. These are specific cards that you can place into your deck before a start of a rush duel. You're only allowed one of these inside your deck, so you basically have to place it in beforehand. Now if we look at the past protagonists from the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise who have had a more darker version of themselves, they've all had a new ace monster, so to speak. Apart from Yami, really, or Atem, whatever name you want to call him. I guess you could say his darker card was the Seal of Orichalcos. Then if you have Jaden, you've got, I can't remember his name now. It was another elemental hero. You've then got Dark Zexal has Utopia, C39 Utopia, something. Basically, you have a darker form of Utopia. You have Odd Eye's Berserk Dragon, Raging Dragon even. You have Dark Requiem. There's loads of ace cards that a protagonist gets once they fall into darkness. And this is kind of where you would expect him to change his ace card if Yuga was to get a darker, sinister form. Now, he can't do that midway through a duel, because these League Legend cards have to be added to your deck before the start of a duel. So, basically, if he has a new ace monster, this would have to be put into the deck before the duel starts. And typically, looking back at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows and franchise, they love to make their character turn halfway through a duel. And this just wouldn't make sense and it wouldn't be possible. The only way that this could work is if the evil protagonist, or the evil antagonist I should say, has like a Legend card swap card that allows them both to swap cards, and then the main protagonist, Yuga, gets this card, changes his personality to that evil state, and that's how we get it. But honestly, I don't see that happening. This would be a great way to show off some cool Legend cards. However, like I said, it would require Yuga to already be in that evil state before the duel starts, meaning that he can't go the rage halfway through, and it just needs to make sense. That's unfortunate, but maybe, I mean, it's still possible, but I see this as being a reason against because it's less likely. So reason number 2 for the against. Like I said, the target audience is aged at a younger audience. Now, if we were to categorize this by looking at all that information that we know and all the information I presented to you, that younger audience would be in the age range of about 8 to 15. And I'm basing this on that information. So half the audience might not understand or like the idea of a sudden change in the main protagonist where he becomes more aggressive and starts becoming more antagonistic. Now, they might not even like the idea of seeing someone's spirit break, because that's what we've seen so many times throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, is that the main protagonist has something done to him. Like, for example, Jaden. Before he went to the Supreme King mode, he has to sacrifice all of his friends to the stars, and that kind of broke his spirits. So this show is meant to be more fun and more jolly, but if they did that to attract the audience, and then the audience saw the show becoming less fun and more serious, they might not like that sudden change, especially because of their age range. Plus, another reason for this is children from the ages of 8 to 15 are at the age where they're most impressionable when growing up, especially when it comes to things that they see. Children are influenced by those things around them and what they watch on TV, and I can't see the creators wanting to risk any kind of negative attention. Therefore, if a kid sees someone being aggressive and angry and abusive towards another person in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel, then a younger audience member who watches this might change their views and go and start acting all evil and antagonistic, thus creating that negative attention. And then finally, reason number 3. This isn't a big reason, and this is in no way to discredit the voice actor that they've chosen for Yuga's character. As of recording this video, I've not heard Yuga's voice actor at this present time. However, saying that, their choice of voice actor slightly concerns me when we're looking at whether or not a Rage or Berserk form is possible for Yuga's character. Because personally, I believe that if they were to have the character turn into this kind of form, then they would be looking for a voice actor who is capable of changing his pitch and range as well as his tone of voice to that of someone more serious, more like sort of crackly, more raging. And basically, the voice actor they've chosen hasn't shown any evidence that he can do that at this present time. So, the voice actor they've gone with is basically a very young and inexperienced voice actor. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something that I've noticed when looking up who Yuga's voice actor actually is. He hasn't had a lot of experience in terms of voicing other characters, so the experience of switching from a jolly to a happy expression and tone and projection to a more serious and more dark and angry tone and expression just isn't there. However, saying that, the counterpoint to that would be the fact that because he's such an inexperienced voice actor, then maybe they've got more chance to play around with what he can do and try things out. So there's not all hope is not lost with that one, but it's just a small reason against why I think the writers haven't gone for that. So to clarify and summarise that point, I think that the reason as to why that doesn't come about is because the writers have chosen not to do it. Therefore, they've chosen a good, safe voice actor. However, that's going to do it for this video. Those are just a few points as to why I think... Hold on a minute. I haven't given you my thoughts yet. My bad. Let's have a look. So, my thoughts. Those are basically the arguments for and against that I've got for this video. And my thoughts are basically, as much as I'd like to see it, I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't. Honestly, I think that the show's going to be a lot more lighter and a lot more colourful and fun. We've already had a very dark series. If you look at that pattern again, so if I bring it up one more time. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, very serious. GX, light-hearted, and then because it was light-hearted, it wasn't getting a lot of, it wasn't getting a lot of attention. So they went more dark and more serious with the whole evil thing. So maybe they weren't planning on making Jaden that antagonistic sort of evil main character type of thing. Then you had Yusei. It was more of a serious show that was targeted to a more of an older audience. Basically, these three that I've just mentioned would be fans that grew up together. Yuma. It started off very kind of jolly, happy-go-lucky, child-friendly, and then towards the end of the Baryon arc, it did kind of pick up the pace a bit and become more aggressive and more dark and more serious with the destruction of worlds and character backgrounds. And then Arc 5, again, it's got that trend of being happy and go lucky at the start and then changing over the time to kind of increase the ratings. And then, I guess, Reigns was just dark all the way through. So I think this time they're going to try to start off being happy and go lucky and more jolly and more aimed at kids. And if it doesn't work out, they might have the effect of, say, Zexal, where it becomes a lot more serious towards the final arc. But I don't think we'll see a dramatic change in Yuga's personality or, modes or forms. I just can't see it. I think other characters might, like, turn aggressive and become more antagonistic, but I don't see the main character doing it this time around. However, that's just my opinion. I want to know what you think down in the comment section below. If you think he's got a chance of becoming a antagonistic, rage-like character, then let me know your reasons as to why down in the comment section below. And if you don't, then that's pretty cool as well. That's fine. Let me know why you don't think so as well down there. Let's get this discussion going, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.